Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss about group by clause in SQL. So in the last session, we already discussed about the comment and what is the top end. So in this video, we will go with the what is group by. So if you don't have the basic SQL knowledge, you can check my playlist SQL tutorial. I'm attaching the video here. So you can go through that and then start with this video. So let's discuss what is group by and why we use group by. So group by is used to group rows that have the same value in a specified column. So that we will discuss later in detail with the example. So basically for grouping some particular values or in a specified column, we are using the group by clause. To use the group by clause, we commonly use that with the aggregate function. So what exactly the aggregate function that we will discuss in later in detail. But let's understand there are some aggregate function named as count, sum, average, max, and mean. So, as the name suggests, the count aggregate function is used to count the number of rows. Then, sum when you want the total amount. In that case, you can use the sum aggregate function. Average. Average you are using to find out the average of the total amount. When you want to find out the highest value, in that case, you can use the max aggregate function. And when you want to find out the lowest value, in that case, you can use the minimum aggregate function. So you don't need to worry about right now about the aggregate function. We will discuss all this aggregate function in detail in the next video. So now for the today's video, we will majorly focus on what is the group by and how exactly we use group by in the SQL. So for that, I'm creating a new table. If you want, you can create a different database. So right now I'm using the same database name as the employee, and there only I'm creating the another table name as the cell. If you want, you can create a different database and create a table under that. So for that, I'm providing all the queries with you guys as well. You can find all the queries in the description. How to create the database and table that we already discussed in detail in the previous session. I'm attaching that video link here. So let's create the table. So first one I'm going to create is the cells table. So for that, I'm clicking here file, new, query with current connection, and this one is my old queries for the top n and the comment. I'm closing that one. So here I'm creating a table name as the cell. So I have already written down the query. So here you can see we are creating the cells table, and the columns we are adding is the cell id, which is the primary key in the integer value. Then we have the employee name, and then department name, then sale amount and the sale date. So these are the some of the columns which are present in this cell table. So let me just copy paste. I will provide this query in the description as well as in the comment section. Let me just copy paste it here. So now you can see we are creating the cells table. You just need to execute this query. You can see the message we are getting is the commands completed successfully. Currently, there is a no data under this sales table. We have just created a table right now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to add the data. So right now I'm adding these 5 rows or the 5 records in this sales table. So the first column as we discussed, it is the cell ID, then the employee name, then the department, then sale amount and the sale date. So all the column data we are passing here, and we are adding the 5 records here. So I'm just copy pasting this. You can add as many record as you want. Right now just for the demo purpose, I'm adding just 5 records. Just paste it here and execute this query. So now you can see the 5 rows are affected. Now if I check this table, you can see that detail here. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new query here, and here I'm writing select, sorry, select star from When you write dbo dot, right now you are seeing just employee detail because the database is not refresh it. If you close and open it again, you can see this sales details as well. Right now I'm just giving the name as it is, like a sales. You can see the details here. So once we executed the query, you can see column names and the data is coming properly. So now our table is ready and the data is also ready. Let's start discussing about the group by. So as we discuss, the group by clause is used to arrange identical data into the groups, and it is typically used with the aggregate function like the sum, count, average, minimum and max to perform operation on each group of data. So let's see some of the example how we can use this group by. So here for this data, first we will see the example like I want the total sales by employee. So if you see the data, the Alice name is coming twice. So Alice performed the two sales operation for the electronics and the amount is different. But I want to calculate the total sum up amount for each employee. If we calculate manually, like here, Alice is coming twice. He did the sell for the electronics and the amount is 1200 and 1500. So when I want the total sales by employee for the Alice, the total sell will be 2700. So this now we are calculating manually as there are very less record. Consider there are thousands of record and you need to find out the sales done by each employee. In that case, you can use this group by query. So let's see how we can perform the group by. So the first example is total sales by employee. I'm putting this in comment. Total sales by employee. So how to write the group by clause, and we will understand the syntax first. So first I'm going to write is our normal select star query. Okay, so for that we can write select star from dbo dot cells. So I have written this query like select star from dbo dot cell. So from dbo dot cell we want the data. So now if you see all the columns name which are present, so we want the column name as the cells. So we want to see the total cell amount. So cell amount we want and we want the employee name. So here instead of the star, I will write employee name. You can see the suggestions are coming. You can select from that and then cell amount. Okay. So cell amount, we want the total cell by employees, right? So total, to find out the total, we need to use the aggregate function on the cell amount. So for the total, as we discussed, there are aggregate function like sum, average, minimum, maximum. So as the name suggests total, we need to use the aggregate function name as the sum. So for that, you can just write the aggregate function sum here and put this column name in the bracket. Okay. So currently we are applying the aggregate function on this cell amount. Okay. And we are finding out the details from the this sales table. You can give the alias name for this sale amount. So the we are finding out the total sale. So instead of the sale amount, I can give the alias name as the total sales. So I will give the name as the total sales. Let's execute this. I have not written any group by clause here. Let's see what exactly the output we are getting. So once we executed, we are getting the error. If you read this message, here it is mentioned dbo.sales employee name. This column is invalid in the select list because it is not contained in either an aggregate function or the group by clause. So basically we want the aggregate function on the sale amount, as we need to find out the total sales. We don't want to perform any aggregate function on the employee. In that case, we need to put the employee in the group by clause. So basically, if there are name as the allies who are present in the records, suppose three times, in that case, what group by will do? Group by will connect all the allies in one group, and that group will find out the total sales across that person. So suppose allies did the sales of the 100, 200 and 300. So he did the three sales. In that case, group by function will do the combination or make a group of the employee name as the allies. And what aggregate function will do? Aggregate function will total all the sales whatever that person has done. So as we discussed, allies has done the sales of the 100, 200 and 300. In that case, it will sum all the sales amount. So 300 plus 200 plus 100, it will be 600. So that this is the basic example like how we are doing. So here in the employee name, we are not putting that in the aggregate function. In that case, we need to put that in the group by clause. So after this from, you can write here group by. So we are grouping employee name. So right here employee name. Now if you execute this again, the error is gone. So now you are getting the total sales by employee. So let's compare this with our data as well. So I'm just writing select star from dbo.sales, and let's verify this is coming properly. Already we discussed for the allies, and the sum is 2700, that is correct. For the Bob, the name is coming twice, so 700 plus 800, it is 1500, and the Carol name is coming only once and the cell is 1000. So whatever the data we are getting, it is making the group by name. So Alice is coming twice, it is making group of one. Bob is coming twice, it is making group of that one. And Carol is coming once, that is the one group. And for each group, it is calculating the total sales amount done by each employee. So this is the basic example to understand the group by. Let's see one more example. Suppose I want to find out the total sales by department. As you can see here in the data, we have the different departments like electronics, furniture, and I need to find out the total sales done by the department. So let's discuss the example 2, total sales by department. So from this example only or question only you will understand, we need to put again the sum function to the cell amount, and here we need to group by the department. So let's see, select, I'm again writing select star from dbo dot cells, and let's modify this query. Instead of the star, we want here the cells and the department name. So first I'm writing department, and then we want the cell amount, right? So cell amount, on the cell amount we want the total cell, so we need to put the aggregate function here. So total means we need to write the sum aggregate function. So for that I'm writing the aggregate function, and the column name you need to put in the bracket, and you can give the any alias name. So here also I'm giving the alias name as the total sale. If you want, you can put the column name as it is. If you want to change, you can change it. Then we need to use the group by. So if you are not put the department in the group by, we will get the error as we discussed in the example 1. So we need to put the group by department in the group by. So let's put group by department. And now what we are expecting? We are expecting here the name as the department, and we will get the total sale by department. For each department, we will get the total sales. So now here you can see the department electronics and furniture. As we discussed, there are two departments and you can see the total sale here. If you want, you can compare, execute this query by your own, and you can compare if the total sale is coming properly or not. Let's see one more example. Suppose I want to count of the sales per employee. So here in the total data you can see the Alice made two sales, Bob did two sales, and Carol did only one sale. So in that case, I want to find out the count of the sales per employee. So this is the example 3, count of sales per employee. So now you can pause the video, take some time, and think about the query, like what kind of aggregate function you will use, for which column you will put the aggregate function, and which column you will put in the group by function. You can think, maybe you can write using pen and paper, or if you are using SQL query editor, you can try by your own. Pause the video and try. So if you're not able to crack, let me tell you what exactly the query you can write for this to get this output. Again, I'm writing select star from dpo dot cells. So column name, what we want the total sale amount per employee. So again, we want the employee name and we want the total sale amount. But here you can see we want the count. So previously we wanted the total. Total means we use the sum. Here we want count. So we will use the count aggregate function. Okay. So in that case, I will write. So basically we want count. I'm putting star. Star means it will consider all the columns. All the columns it will consider, not the cell amount. Because we want this employee name which is duplicated, right? So here I can put that in the count star. Even the department, that also will get distinct. So in that case I'm putting the count star, and here I can give the alias name as the count or number of cells. So here I'm giving as the number of cells. You can give any column name here, and then we are doing the group by employee name. So what we are expecting from here, you can understand, alias number of cells, here it is coming twice, so number of cells twice, Bob it is twice, and for the Carol it is one. Let's see what exactly the output we are getting. So we are getting the same output as we discussed. So these are the some of the example to understand what is the group by and how to use the group by to find out the data which is identical into the groups. So let's see some of the key concepts related to the group by. So group by basically organize the data into the logical group based on one or more columns. So basically we discuss, we are grouping some of the data and we are putting some logic there, like we want the sum, we want the count, like we are putting aggregate function, and using group by we are logically grouping the data. It reduces multiple rows into a single summary row per group, and it does not filter rows, it aggregates them. So we are not using any filtering here, we are just using the aggregation here, and it must be used with aggregate function, and all the columns in the select clause that are not aggregated must be appear in the group by clause. So we already discussed in the first query itself, when we are not put any group by clause, we got the error. So whatever the column name, suppose here after employee name, I'm writing one more column like employee ID. In that case, that column name should be included in the group by. Otherwise, it will give error. So that's it for the today, guys. Hope you understand the group by. We have seen a lot of examples as well. So if you have any question related to the group by, you can put down that in the comment section. I will try to respond them as soon as possible. If this video is useful for you, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video till the end and have a nice day.